Genetics and reproduction. Genetics is how DNA is transmitted. DNA is the generic material of all organisms, composed of two complementary, precisely paired strands of nucleotides wound in a double helix. Chromosomes contain multiple genes that code for proteins. Once Mendel's work was rediscovered in 19th, the scientists began to search for the molecule involved in the inheritance. Scientists knew that the genetic information was carried on the chromosomes in eukaryotic cells, and that the two main components of chromosomes are DNA and proteins. A biochemist determined that the basic structure of nucleotides made up DNA. Nucleotides are subunits of nucleic acids consisting of a 5-carbon sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base that make the combinations for the translation to be copied into proteins. The two nucleic acids found in living cells are DNA and RNA. DNA nucleotides contain the sugar deoxyribose, a phosphate, and 4 nitrogenous bases: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. It was found that the amount of guanine nearly equals the amount of cytosine, and the amount of adenine nearly equals the amount of thymine within a species. DNA structure is like a code or language built for proteins in order for them to contain genetic information in genes that at the same time are part of the DNA. This code signals the cell to perform a function. Complementary base pairing is used to describe the precise pairing of purine and pyrimidine bases between strands of nucleic acids. It is a characteristic of DNA replication through which the parent strand can determine the sequence of a new strand. There can be millions of different combinations, and that's why we are unique. DNA is a double helix or twisted ladder shape formed of two strands of nucleotides twisted around each other. Important in this is that the two outside strands consist of alternating deoxyribose and phosphate, cytosine and guanine bases paired to each other by 3 hydrogen bonds, while thymine and adenine bases paired to each other by 2 hydrogen bonds. DNA replicates by making a strand that is complementary to each original strand. This occurs in the interphase and mitosis of meiosis by 3 stages. DNA codes for RNA, which guides protein synthesis. Recall the proteins function as structural building blocks for the cells and as enzymes. RNA is a nucleic acid similar to DNA. However, RNA contains a sugar ribose that base uracil, replacing thymine, and usually is single-stranded. RNA contains sugar ribose, a phosphate, and one of 4 nitrogenous bases: adenine, guanine, cytosines, or uracil. 3 major types of RNA are found in living cells. Messenger RNA travels from the nucleus to the ribosome to direct the synthesis of a specific protein. Ribosomal RNA is a type of RNA that associates with proteins to form ribosomes in the cytoplasm. Transfer RNA are smaller segments of it that transport amino acids to the ribosome. The instructions for protein synthesis are encoded in the DNA. Punnett squares. Punnett squares are used to predict the possible offsprings of a cross between two genotypes. This makes it easier to keep track of the possible genotypes involved in a cross, like the probabilities of an offspring having certain traits inherited from the parents. It's a visual summary of the possible combinations of the alleles. In order for the Punnett squares to work, there are first alleles or traits which can be recessive or dominant. For example, the eye color. Brown is a dominant color and blue is a recessive trait. Parents can have a complete dominance or a recessive. And one example is the tongue. Tongue rolling ability is a dominant trait which can be represented as a T. Suppose both parents can roll their tongues and are heterozygous. T and T smaller for the trait. What possible phenotypes could their children have? The number of squares is determined by the number of different types of alleles, T or smaller t, produced by each father. In this case, the square is 2 per 2 squares, because each parent produces 2 different types of gametes. Notice that the male gametes are written across the horizontal side and the female ones on the vertical side.